And Josh, I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Welcome to the first 1 Million Cups Norman event of 2021. Our organizing team is thrilled to kick off a new year with you all. How many of you on the call are a first-time visitor to 1 Million Cups? If you are, in the Zoom chat, you can raise your hand or do a thumbs up, let us know. If you are new, here's some background information. Developed by the Kauffman Foundation, 1 Million Cups is a free national event designed to educate, engage, and connect entrepreneurs. There are over 150 1 Million Cup chapters across the country, all meeting at 9 a.m. on Wednesday mornings over coffee right now, talking about entrepreneurship in their communities, just as we are today. Some clubs meet weekly and others, like ours, meet monthly. Always the first Wednesday of the month for us here in Norman. We are so glad to have you here. My name is Josh Long. This morning I'll be your MC. I work for the Chickasaw Nation Industries. We are a government contractor based out of Norman. I joined this organization and the organizing team last year. I did so because, like many of you, I think that small businesses are the backbone of our economy and our country. I'm excited to be here. Glad you've joined. Slide 2, Kristen, if you wouldn't mind. For those of you who are new, make sure you download the app and check out the 1 Million Cups and check into our meeting. You can check in, you can give us feedback, and you can connect with over 1 Million Cups chapters nationwide. Next slide, please, Kristen. Just a reminder not to check in. And this morning's sponsors. A huge thank you goes to our sponsors, the Norman Economic Development Coalition, the Norman Arts Council, More Norman Technology Center, and Day Creative. Next slide, please. The organizing team is made up of a few great people. And as I call their first names, if they would do the Zoom chat wave or thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. Matt, James, Jordan, Joyce, Kristen, Michael, Daniel, Sarah, myself, Sue, Andy, and Sarita. These people are volunteers, as in we receive no compensation. This is just strictly out of our love of small business and entrepreneurship. And we are not tied to any other organization with our commitment here. We have a great team. We're glad to have you. And at any time, any of these folks would be happy to chat with you about 1 Million Cups or anything related to entrepreneurship in our community. If you're interested in joining our team, reach out to any of us. Now it's time to get into the good stuff. At each 1 Million Cup session, we are typically feature 2 local entrepreneurs. Each have approximately 6 minutes to tell us their story, and then we will have about 20 minutes of Q&A. Remember, 1 Million Cups is all about building a supportive ecosystem for entrepreneurs to help build them up. So think about your questions as they speak. You can either put them into the chat box at the bottom, or you can ask them out loud for the entire group to hear. Our first speaker today is Ariel West with Equinox Esports. Ariel, welcome to Norman, to 1 Million Cups Norman. We are excited to have you, and the floor is yours.
Awesome. Hey guys, thanks for the introduction there. My name is Ariel, or Ari Panda. Here in the gaming community, we use gamer tags usually, so Ari for short. I am the Director of Community and Communication here at Equinox Esports. So basically what I do, Director of Community and Communication, so I do like the content creation, social media management, web content, marketing strategy, press and media, all that good stuff. Basically, as you guys know, being entrepreneurs and small businesses, we have to wear a lot of multiple hats. So I do a lot, but it's great. Previously, I worked 5 years in higher education. I wrote curriculum for the University of Central Oklahoma for esports and media class. That's now being taught by a PhD professor that UCO hired. So that was super cool for me to do. But enough about me. What is Equinox? That's why we're here, right? So, or Nox for short. In the gaming community, we like to have like little short tags that we call everything. So Nox is ours. So we are considered the first recognized professional esports organization in Oklahoma. So that officially was about April 2020. I came on in October because that's when Chad and the founders were ready to make the organization public. So we have our facility in Northwest Oklahoma City. It's about 6,000 square feet. It's a local performance center as well. So basically any aspiring esports athletes here in Oklahoma can come to the space, and they have access to 20 plus high-end computers and accessories. What's really cool is that we're an Oklahoma grown staff of 7 and we're fully paid. And that's a really cool thing to be able to say in young esports, because esports ventures around the world are kind of notorious for not paying their staff. So super cool. Currently we have, as of October 14, 2020, we have a professional Valorant team. We're considered high tier 2, low tier 1. So that means we're like pretty good. We have 5 players and a team manager, and they're all paid as well. And then as of December, we now host Smashcade. Some of you may have heard of it. It is a local Super Smash Brothers Ultimate tournament scene here in Oklahoma. It was a pretty big thing. And so we brought Austin and Smashcade under the Equinox banner to help support Oklahoma grown esports, as well as our ventures into the global scene. We also create a lot of video content. We do podcasts and broadcasts, written content, live streams on Twitch, all that good stuff. So basically our mission here at Equinox is we are here to cultivate esports athletes, not only in Oklahoma, but in the Midwest and the United States as well. But we want to produce quality content, and we want to help elevate Oklahoma City through esports, because esports is a brand new, it's not even brand new, it's just not as known to specifically the Midwest. Like if you want to see anything esports related, you usually have to go to like California or New York. Texas is growing a lot. So we wanted to bring a slice of that billion-dollar industry here to Oklahoma. The cool thing about esports is that it's highly accessible. There's basically no barriers to entry besides being good at a game or having access to either a computer or a console. Some other things that we're looking to do, we're here to create jobs in the state too. So most people, again, to get opportunities in esports, you have to leave to California, you have to go to New York, you have to go to Texas. We want to be able to grow Equinox here and grow esports here in Oklahoma and the Midwest and create jobs for our economy here. We also want to grow local esports athletes' skills and talents on our high-end hardware and software. So there is actually a lot of great competitive esports athletes here in Oklahoma, but there's not a lot of access to the next level. So we want to be that next level for esports athletes here in the state. We also want to change the stigma of gaming, and we want to focus a lot on holistic, like health and wellness for our professional athletes, because I think a lot of the current stigma and stereotypes surrounding gamers is that, we sit at a desk all day and we're staring at a computer screen. Well, here at Equinox, we focus a lot on health and wellness as well. So we do Wellness Wednesdays every Wednesday. Just tips and tricks, stretches and health and nutrition, all that good stuff. We basically just want to create a well-rounded professional esports athlete. And last but not least, we want to create a strong grassroots community here to support our teams, to consume content, give gamers a place to call home and show their pride. So next slide and last slide, basically how you guys can help support us. Just get involved and get engaged with us. Watch our teams compete. We actually have a tournament this Saturday. So talk in the Twitch chat, follow us on social media, join our Discord channel, support our players when they're competing, and consume our content on YouTube or Twitch. Also, tell us what you want to see. We want to make sure that we're making content that's relevant to Oklahoma as well. We have a pretty good grasp on like what content esports folks want to see, but what do Oklahomans want to see, and what would help draw you into the esports scene? Sign up for a Smashcade tournament. It's free and it's fun, and you could, try to compete against some esports athletes in Super Smash Brothers. It's on the Nintendo Switch. And then also the big one, which we're not quite ready to reveal just yet, but attend our events at our to-be-named event center post-COVID. And that construction is happening down at the Boathouse District. So yeah, that's Equinox in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Ariel.
Thank
And
you.
now we'll switch and transition into the Q&A session. And to kind of kick it off, I know you mentioned Super Smash Brothers as kind of, I think,
Yeah.
y'all's wheelhouse. But what other games
Mhm.
are y'all good at? Do y'all do esports in?
For sure. So we don't have any official ventures just yet into other games, but other professional titles that we would be potentially interested in. Call of Duty, that has a huge scene here in the United States. CSGO, the scene isn't that strong in North America, so we would be competing in Europe, so that's probably lesser on our list. Rocket League, that one's super accessible to high schoolers especially, and that's a big up and coming title, and it just went free to play last year, so it has a growing community there. So Rocket League would be fun. And basically Rocket League, it's 3v3 and you're in cars and you're playing soccer basically. It's hilarious to watch. And then League of Legends, which is the number one esport in the world. That would be an awesome title to get into. But that one obviously has some really high barriers to entry as they've been established for the past 10 years. But they have a small amateur, like growing scene here in the United States. So that's something we could potentially jump into as well. But right now we aren't looking to jump into any other title just yet. We're going to stick with Valorant and Super Smash Brothers.
Fantastic. And there are a few more questions coming in, but before I jump into those, I have one more. I know
Sure.
a lot of these games you mentioned, they even have these franchise models. Do
Mhm.
you have to buy a franchise to play these games, or is it open to anybody?
So for games like League of Legends, that is franchised. So you would not be able to join the LCS, which is like the highest tier of North American competitive play. You would not be able to compete in that professionally unless you bought a slot. But the cool thing about Valorant, which is why we jumped into Valorant, is it's a brand new game and it is not on a franchise model yet. So basically, you just grab the 5 best players you can and you compete and you like claw your way to the top, basically. So that was a fun. That's been a fun journey there. And like I said, we're like in the high tier 2, low tier 1. So we're like right on that threshold where like we would be franchised if that model were to come out. So yeah, that's been
That's
fun.
quite, that's quite exciting. This question comes from Daniel Johnson. What are the age ranges of your athletes?
Yeah, so legally, an athlete cannot compete in most games. It varies game to game, but they can't compete unless they're at least 16 years old with parental consent. All of our athletes, we have a 19-year-old, a 21-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 28-year-old, actually. And we are currently looking for a 5th player, but they'll probably be within the 20 range. You usually see players go pro around 17, 18 years old. Basically, they want to graduate high school first. And then they usually have a relatively short career compared to, say the NBA or something where you could play basketball for like 25 years. Esports, you're kind of done around 30. You don't have to be, and it's usually not because they're washed up or not good at the game anymore. It's just they've transitioned to like a less competitive form of competing, and it's more like doing online streams and YouTube content and stuff like that, just like take the pressure off of them. So yeah, your 20s are your prime time for esports.
It's quite insightful. It's a young folks game.
Yes.
Matt Allen asks, how can local businesses engage, support, advertise with your community?
Yeah, for sure. So we do have like advertising opportunities if that's like specifically what you're asking. We could, insert ads through our YouTube, our live streams on Twitch. We do a live stream every Thursday at 11 a.m. CST called Knox Talks. And that's usually where we bring on guests around Oklahoma. We talk about, how esports in Oklahoma can combine. So there's a lot of opportunities there. Just to get engaged with us. The biggest thing right now is just brand awareness for us. We really just need to get our name out in Oklahoma and in the Midwest, just so people know, hey, there's actually like real esports here, and it's not one of those. Esports is kind of notorious for people just kind of randomly starting up little things and then like trying to push themselves as professional, but they're not, like they don't have like any backing to that. Like we actually have backing, like financially, as well as like our skill sets on the staff. So just getting our name out there, watching our Twitch streams, supporting us on social media, consuming our YouTube and Twitch content, and supporting our players.
Sue Ringus asked, what is your revenue model?
So there's a few different revenue models for us. And again, we're not quite in the stage where we're like super focused on revenue right now. Right now, we're just trying to build a solid foundation and build up our brand identity here in Oklahoma and in the United States. But some forms of revenue are our Twitch streams. So we get compensated for our Twitch streams if you subscribe to the channel, which is $5 a month. We get compensation through people consuming our YouTube content. And then we also get compensation through Connor, our director of competition. He does coaching on the side. So if you have a son or daughter who's really interested in first-person shooter games, so that'd be like Valorant, Overwatch, CSGO, Call of Duty, Connor has an entire curriculum set up to help teach your son or daughter. So we do coaching. We also I wrote curriculum for the University of Central Oklahoma for esports and media. So that's something I offer as well, like just a quick session of the history of media and the esports and the media and like how that's grown over time, just insights on that. And then our biggest revenue model is going to be when we do eventually move down to the Boathouse District and open up that event center. It's going to be a LAN center, so that means you can come in at any time and pay hourly to play on any of the computers, and we'll be hosting a lot of events out of that space as well. But also eventually, like our teams, when they compete in these tournaments, they're competing for money, and we get that money. So if they place in like, usually it's the top 3, we get funding from that as well.
Matt Allen asked, can you talk a little bit about the demographics for your community?
And that's the cool thing about esports is that it's just a big melting pot of everybody. Like, I mean, we have fans that, from 9 years old, like watching Rocket League and having fun, to like the 30 somethings who like, this was our dream back when we were, young, and now it's like finally happening. So we're supporting that scene as well. So I couldn't even like tell you, I would say a majority male. It's still a male dominated industry, but females, we're getting more into the scene every year. It's becoming more friendly towards females. I will say, like in the early days, like early 2000s, early 2010s, that was not the case. But yeah, male, female, any race, any gender, there is no, it's everybody. And that's the cool thing about esports is it's literally everybody.
In the Zoom chat, Kristen has shared Equinox's Twitter, the YouTube channel, and your website page. Ida Freihofer asks, how do you select athletes for your team?
So for Valorant, we actually scouted out these already formed teams, because what's really common in the esports industry is that like just 5 players, like 5 friends, they'll just get together and make a team and they'll start trying to compete. And in games like Valorant, which are new and unfranchised, like that's like something you could do. That's very accessible, right? So we have been scouting free agent teams is what they're called. So people who are not signed by an organization. We scouted them as they competed in tournaments all throughout the spring and the summer of 2020. Wow, 2020 now. Wow, it's 2021 now. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So spring and summer of 2020, scouted them just competing, and we signed. The team was called Shine and Win at the time. They were the top free agent team competing at like that weren't signed by an organization. So we actually just signed all 5 of them as a group. But now that we've released one of our players, we hold what's called trials. So we have players send in applications to us, and we pick applicants that we're interested in trialing, and they play with our team, and we see how they mesh and see how that goes. And then, hopefully we find a good fit and we sign one.
So you have these tryouts. I'm sure you probably get a lot of people just asking to join the team too. How do you
Yes.
tell somebody like, hey, you're good this game, but not good enough?
Yeah, so basically we have requirements like when you fill out our application for Valorant specifically, you do have to be the highest rank that you can in the game. And there's only so many of those people that are ranked, right? So we're not looking at diamond and below players. Like that's great. Like we're proud of you and you should continue to compete in the game and get better, but if you're not radiant or like that top level, then we're a professional organization. We have to, pick the best option for us, and that's not going to be a diamond player, unfortunately. But usually with that kind of stuff, they send in their application, and we're just like, oh, thanks for your time. Like we received your application. At this time, not going to move forward, but wish you the best of luck. Keep competing, keep getting better, etc., like that. But yeah, we do. We have received a couple applications of people just like, I want to play for your team, and I'm like, I don't think you understand like how good you actually have to be paid to play video games. You have to be really good.
The next question comes from Ida again, and she says, where are you focused on promoting your organization? I have seen some posts on LinkedIn related to Equinox.
Yeah, so right now it has been very much LinkedIn, Twitter focused. We do have Facebook and Instagram as well, but those two platforms are not usually very big for esports. But Facebook is a platform that we do plan to utilize just because it does have like the largest social media base of all the social media channels. But we have like reached out to local media here in Oklahoma as well. Not very much success on that front just yet. But again, we do need to like get our wheels spinning a little bit before people probably do take interest in us. Really, the only things that would be of note to the local media were that one, we launched, two, we signed these 5 random kids spread out across the United States that are really good at this video game and now they're being paid to play it, and that we partnered with ZipChair. So there hasn't been a lot of like newsworthy items just yet. But once we get our wheels spinning, we have plans to, reach out to the local media, tap into the press wire, and start really pushing and promoting on social medias as well. So, and I think the to be named event center at the Boathouse District, like that's going to be that's going to really change the game for us. Once we're able to open up that space and, bring in foot traffic at that time too, because you'll get to meet the players, you'll get to engage in our content, you'll get to play the game yourself, get to attend events, you'll get to watch our players sit on a stage and play the game on a big screen like you're watching a basketball game or something. So yeah, just need to get the wheels spinning.
So these esport players, are they full-time paid athletes or do they have day jobs as well?
Nope, they are full-time paid athletes. One of our athletes does currently go to college as well, so he has to balance that, and that's a part of our job as well. So, we have weekly meetings with our team. They have scrims, like they're practicing every day, basically. Maybe 2 days off a week or so, for a set amount of time and hours, and they're expected to meet those hours. But yeah, we are currently working with one of our players as he continues to go to college. So working around his schedule and helping him and supporting him doing that as well. But no, they are full-time paid athletes. Like this is their job.
James Arietta asked a question about your revenue model again, but let me adjust it a little bit. You said you have a paid, Twitch channel. You can pay $5 a month to fund your organization.
Yep.
How many people are paid subscribers to that? And how do you compare to other organizations like yourselves on that
Definitely.
following?
So ours is pretty small right now. I think we have about 40 paid subscribers at this time. And like another thing about that is, yeah, they pay $5 a month, but we only get $250. The other $250 goes to Twitch because that's the service we're using, right? So it's not going to be like our main source of revenue at all. It's more of like a tip jar for us. So we have about 40 people subscribed there. That is not a lot, but it is a lot in the sense that people are subscribed to an org, and that's a little bit unusual in the scene. Usually people who are streaming are individuals. So like our players, you can also pay to subscribe to them as well, $5 a month, and they get that money directly. That's usually more common because again, it's not like the most bang for your buck to try to be funded through Twitch subscribers. So, but yeah, it's still like it's a supplemental income. It is not our main source of income.
Kristen Garcia asks, can you talk more about the non-player jobs in esports and how
Yeah.
people get into those job opportunities?
Okay, so non-player jobs. So think of esports as like any other industry, right? Like you need a marketing director, you need a business developer, you need like your director of competition, you need events, you need social media, you need finance, you need everything. Like it's an industry just like higher education or oil and gas, like sports, journalists. Like you don't have to do a job like with an organization. You could do a job with a company like Riot Games, right? They're the ones who make League of Legends and Valorant. Like you could just be HR for HR for Riot Games. So you're managing hiring opportunities for this video game company, right? It's literally anything you want to do. But I will say, like, getting into these job opportunities right now is probably like one of the hardest industries like I've ever experienced, at least. Like as a marketing and communications professional, like I've spent most of my time in higher education, but I've ventured out into other industries as well. And getting into esports is really difficult because it's a booming industry right now. It's like $1 billion industry, and it's especially in the millennial um demographic age group. Like these are things that like we wanted to do when we were 7. Like this is the coolest thing ever. So I would say the best way to get into these job opportunities is to kind of, I'll say like the route I went is I had my full-time job, and then any free time I had, anything on the side, I did esports here in Oklahoma. Like I created the League of Legends group here for Oklahoma, and like 2,000 plus people. Like I developed that community, and I run League of Legends tournaments on the side, and I hosted in-person events for the past 5 years to like grow that community and like get people to know me and network. And I traveled to Kansas City and like met with people who were doing something similar and like combined forces. So it was a lot of unpaid volunteer time, but I got noticed, right? That elevated my resume, not only to Equinox but other organizations in the industry as well. So it is a labor of love to get into this industry.
Joyce Birch asks, is your boathouse facility an existing building or is it new construction?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's new construction, but it's also like you can move it. Like I'm not 100% sure on those details. I'm not like super in the loop on the tent, or well, we call it the tent. So but yeah, it'll be new construction, and it'll be a pretty big facility, able to host, I think, like 100, 200 people. 200, I think that's right. I think Chris is in the chat. Chris can correct me if he knows how many people can fit into the boathouse facility that we're building.
Very good. And then the last 2 questions, I'll ask one, and then Matt Allen kind of asked the most important one for us at the end. So my question is, Knox is what it is right now.
Mhm.
In 5 years, where do you want to be?
Oh gosh, in 5 years, we'd love to be like the Cloud9 of Oklahoma. So Cloud9 is a very like the top North American organization. They're located in Santa Monica, California. They started off literally just a League of Legends team. Like started off just like Equinox did. They focused on one game. They had 5 players. They had Jack, their CEO, and he had a coach. And they're like, all right, let's go. We're doing this. And now they grown. They host like 10 plus teams across several titles. Like I'm pretty sure at least 10 video game titles. And then they also have like signed content creators that they pay just to stream, just to promote the brand, just to create funny YouTube videos, all that good stuff. So yeah, that would be the dream for sure, to be able to have multiple teams in multiple games, have our own content creators, and have an even bigger staff, being like people focus just on social media. People focus just on public relations, all that good stuff, being able to specialize a little more. So.
And to answer your question to Chris says the boathouse facility can hold 150 folks
Okay,
as of
cool.
right now.
That's what I thought.
And then lastly, Matt Allen asks, how can we, as the Norman community, support your company?
Yeah. So right now, again, we're in the brand awareness phase, as I like to call it. So basically just interacting with us on social media, watching our players compete, watching our players stream on their personal channels, watching our personal channel, telling us what you want to see. Because again, we want to make content that's relevant to Oklahoma. Like we have a grasp on like what esports content we can make, but like, what do you guys want to see? What would draw you to esports? And then again, once the center at the Boathouse District opens, come attend some of our events, or just come play in the space on a high-end PC, and compare the difference between maybe like your Dell laptop compared to like a $2,500 high-end production machine. So.
Thank you so much, Ariel. And if you're on the call, guys, let's use the Zoom features and give her a round of applause or a thumbs up.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you so much.
I know Kristen had said she'd be right back in the chat, and we're now going to transition into the upcoming events slide. Kristen, if you're not on, I'll read them if you don't have the ability to.
All right. Let me switch something. So we wanted to start adding just upcoming events in the middle of our presentation, so this won't take too long, but we have some OVMF events happening over this next month, Oklahoma Venture Forum. So if that's something you'd like to participate in, there's information about that. Our SBDC offices for Oklahoma are hosting a variety of business workshops over the month of January. So starting your business, financing, and then just a business smart workshop. So we encourage you to attend those if that's helpful. We recently started an Entrepreneurship and Tech Oklahoma meetup group through Techlahoma. It's sponsored by the Tom Love Innovation Hub and Launchpad Francis Tuttle, and we're meeting the second Monday of the month at 8 p.m. And also I wanted to let you guys know about REI Women's Business Center. Even though it says Women's Business Center, it's open to everyone. They're hosting a variety of workshops this month as well on budgeting and projecting, writing a business plan, and QuickBooks. And the reason I didn't put how to find all this information is because you can always log into launchokcmetro.com and there's an event schedule. You can either look at the event schedule without logging into anything, or you can join our Launch OKC Metro portal that's powered by Startup Space and find out more information about those events. If you have events that help our small business and entrepreneurship community, we encourage you to add them to this calendar. Or you can either email me and say, hey, can you just pull all of our calendar information from ours? We can get our Startup Space team to do that for us. So we have a more centralized calendar of events for the new year. So that's it.
Our second presenter today is Antoinette Webster with Nets Mini Market. She is the winner of the pre-seed division at the OU Entrepreneurship Expo, which happened in November. Antoinette, welcome to 1 Million Cups Norman. We're excited to have you today. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Guys, I'm so nervous. I am so nervous. I'm gonna get this over with, not quick, but take my time and give you guys a lot of information of my goal with Nets Mini Market. So again, to start off, my name is Antoinette Webster. I am the owner of Nets Mini Market. And what got me interested in the grocery store industry was my willingness to help people. My goal has always been to help, whether you're struggling or not struggling. My goal is always to inspire someone or just make their day better, or just help in general. But what is Nets Mini Market? Okay. Nets Mini Market, it's a small business grocery store that's located on the northeast side of Oklahoma City. We would sell fresh quality products such as meats, produce, canned goods, hygiene products, and much more, all for affordable prices. Next slide, please. So if you guys are familiar with the northeast side of Oklahoma City, you know that the northeast side of Oklahoma City is located within a food desert area. So what is food desert? It means low income, low access. So what problem will Nett's Mini Market be solving? The market will allow residents within the local community the access and convenience to fresh produce, meats, canned goods, and much more without having to shop outside of the local area. Next slide, please. So I know it's kind of small on this stat sheet, but the facts are within a 1 mile radius of Nett's Mini Market, between 4 different grocery stores, there's a demand of just over $11 million, a supply over $6 million, and a retail gap of $4 million, a little bit over $4 million. So that's noticeable that the local residents are shopping outside of the local community. So what makes Nett's Mini Market different? So one, it's owned and operated by a passionate 26-year-old minority female who's connected with the community. So the Northeast community, this is an area where I grew up. I attended a lot of activities. I went to elementary school. I still have family within this area. My grandmother, she still lives within that area over 40 years. 2, we will offer fresh quality products for affordable prices. 3, we will offer online ordering, delivery services, and product pickup for local residents who live within the local area. And then lastly, the ultimate goal is to provide an opportunity. A lot of communities that are located within a food desert area, they just don't have the opportunity. So my goal is to ensure that we just give the Northeast community an opportunity to have access to fresh quality products. So Nett's Mini Market, our top competitors. So just about 1.2 miles away from Nett's Mini Market, it's a small business grocery store called Sunshine Grocery Store. Before it was called Sunshine Grocery Store, it was known as Otwell's. This business is well established. It's been around for quite some time now, a little over 20 years before the transition name to Sunshine Grocery Store. They sell low quality products for affordable prices, and they're also an established business. Our next competitors are the well-known corporation called Homeland. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with Homeland. They're about 2.8 miles of where the newly constructed building will be completed mid-2021, so around July. They sell high quality products for higher prices. So our top competitors will be one, Sunshine Grocery Store, which is 1.2 miles away from Nett's Mini Market, and the new and upcoming Homeland that'll be located on Northeast 36th and Lincoln. So that's about 2.8 miles away from Nett's Mini Market. So how can 1 Million Cup help support Nett's Mini Market? 1 Million Cup can help support Nett's Mini Market by helping find the proper sources to help fund the market. And 2, just provide helpful advice with the growth of Nett's Mini Market. The facts are that in the Oklahoma County, there is a population of 1 million. 10.3% of that 1 million is located within a food desert area. The Northeast community completes one of those percentages. Like I said, my grandmother, she still lives within a food desert area. So my goal is to ensure that we, like I said, provide an opportunity for the Northeast community to have access to fresh quality products such as beverages, canned goods, hygiene products, and much more, all for affordable prices. Open to any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Antoinette. Great presentation. My first question, I guess, would be you had a spreadsheet tucked in there, and obviously you had access to some numbers. How'd you find that?
So the Oklahoma City Greater Commerce, they actually sent over these stats. It was a pretty easy process. All it took was just reaching out and asking, you know, what does this look like between this distance? I think they sent me one for the 1 mile radius, the 3 mile radius, and the 5 mile radius. And it was about 6 pages long. But they get real in depth as to the demographics, how much families are making, how much businesses are making within that community, within that area. So they're really, they send you knowledgeable information that's really helpful to, in regards to me, to my goal, because you have to know the numbers, whatever you're doing. So yeah.
James Ariata asked, how and where do you source products to enable you to be competitive in the market?
How and where, I'm sorry.
Yeah. How and where do you source products to enable you to be competitive in the market?
Meaning, where would I get the
Yeah.
products?
Yep. Where are you buying from?
So I have a few different places. One will be using value wholesale distributors. Sam's Club, they'll be a really good one. There's this meat market called Ron's Meat Market. It's located on Southeast 15th, so right around the corner from the flea market. We will also use, I haven't set what farmers market I want to use, and I'm hoping I can work with someone from the Small Business Development Center as to what would be the right farmers market to use, because most of them are seasonal. But there's one that's called Northeast OKC Farmers Market, and I emailed about a little bit more farmers market that could be available, but again, they're all seasonal. So I would just have to find the right one at the right time.
Kristen Garcia asks, can you tell us more about what your market will look like? The size of your store, number of employees, and do you already have a space picked out?
So yes, there is a space that's picked out. It's 3,000 square footage total. Not all 3,000 square footage will be used towards the grocery store area. So of course we have to mark some space off, about 1,000 square footage off for office space, storage space, and a break room space. We're looking at about 4 to 5 employees. And then the last question, sorry.
Thank you. I think you got
I think that was everything.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
Matt Allen asked, what is your biggest challenge? What keeps you up at night?
My biggest challenge now is finding these sources for funding. That's been my biggest struggle. You can do so much through crowdfunding. I've done a lot through crowdfunding. Well, more than I have done over the past. And when it comes to starting your business, you have to do a lot of on the ground work by yourself. So initially, I started out reaching out to a lot of friends and family, but they can only do so much. So I think the biggest thing has been, finding funding sources. As far as the business knowledge in regards to grocery store, working with the Small Business Development Center, they've been a lot of help. Google has a lot of information in regards to rural grocery stores, startups, and operation guides. So when it came to staying up to date in regards to grocery stores within COVID season, that's how I would keep my mind. That's how I would stay knowledgeable within the grocery store industry. But I think right now, the only thing that really keeps me up is now, how am I going to launch this business?
Laura Callahan says, I love your mission and passion. If you are not already working with James Arriata on this call, he would be a good place to start. I recommend reaching out to the SBA Oklahoma City office and REI's Women's Business Center. Good luck, you're doing a great thing. Sarah Kaplan asks, when do you plan to open?
So that's what I'm working on now, is completing the milestones. So I've developed a business plan, not a business plan, I'm sorry. I've completed my business plan, but I did a 2021 goal sheet. So there's a few things that I do have to get done. Number one is creating the funding. How will I come up with the funding? And then two, a few things that I do have to get done on a personal side. I would have to register the business through Oklahoma tax commissions, register the business through Oklahoma employment, of course, sign off on lease documents with the leaser. And that's about it. Just getting licenses, permits, and certificates. But if I can get this done, mid of this year, so we're speaking around the summertime of this year, I think that would be a great start, because the building is already an existing building. So the construction would take about 4 to 5 months to get storage done, electricity, plumbing, and things like that done. He said that it would take around 4 to 5 months. So if I can get the funding done as soon as possible, then we can start getting the ball rolling and cracking things down within a nutshell.
Bianca Gordon says, you'll be so close to Church Row, which is a huge advantage. She says she attends St. John. How do you plan to reach out to the church community?
I have not reached out to the church community. There was one guy that I was working with from OBU. He actually wanted me to reach out to the Baptist church. There's a Baptist church, and he said they were involved in the food industry. So I don't have a set protocol. If I could have assistance on ways I could reach out to churches to help guide me through the process, or just the right words to say, to get their help, I would love the insight and help on that.
John Hunnell asks, what is the most unique offering you plan to have? Or asked another way, what will your competitive offering or edge be?
So because we are located within a food desert area, I think the biggest problem within the Northeast community, depending on where you stay, so I think a little bit out of the range of the 2-mile radius, a lot of those residents had, they lack transportation. So I think our delivery services will be a huge impact. We will offer the online ordering. I think that will be a big factor, and the store product pickup. So the online ordering, delivery services, and product pickup, I think those are our strong points. And that's pretty much how we'll separate ourselves from the other grocery stores within the local area.
Great answer. It seems like you have a built-in captive market that's in the middle of a food desert, and if you offer delivering and online ordering, that seems to be a tremendous way to differentiate yourself. Matt Allen asks, what are your funding goals?
Funding goals, could be a little bit more specific.
How much money do you need?
So right now the startup is around $26,000. Right now I'm at 7,000. So if I could have investments of $26,000, I think that would help me tremendously as far as the startup payment. And then as far as getting a loan, I think I've set myself up the best that I can to apply for a loan. But again, I will work with the proper sources in order to figure out which direction I should take in regards of loans and business credits and things of that nature. But in regards to startup, we're needing $26,000 total.
Kristen Garcia is asking the entire group on the call if anyone's aware of grants that focus on this solution. She knows that both Lawton and Greenwood in Tulsa are working on solutions for their food deserts. Matt Allen asks, can you talk about your connections to the local Northeast Oklahoma City business community or other Northeast Oklahoma City communities? What are you going, who are going to be your direct customers?
So the direct customers within the Northeast Oklahoma City community, I'm going to directly target that 1 mile radius. And with that community, I would do a lot of door-to-door marketing. I know initially that would be a lot as far as door-to-door marketing, but most of the residents that live within this community, they've been around for quite some time, but they're also building new unit houses and things like that. So there are new residents within that local community. So my goal is to target that 1 mile radius first, just to get those guys committed and let them know the goal that we're trying to accomplish. The demographic ages are between 25 to 34, and then we have 35 to 54. The complete 1 mile radius, they have a median income of around 50,000 per household. So a lot of single unit housing. They're not really big on family houses. So we can foresee that a lot of customers would be from single houses or housings of one to two adults per each house.
Very good. And the last two questions, the first one being, right now you're in this stage where you're seeking funding, you're getting your ducks in a row, as they say. In 5 years, where do you want to be?
In 5 years, well, as I said earlier in regards to our competitors, I want to be established. So those businesses, they're well-established businesses. They know about Sunshine Grocery Store. You guys know about Homeland. I just want to be established business on the northeast side of Oklahoma City who, provided a solution for the Northeast community while also profiting. So after that 5-year mark, I want to reach another milestone of 5-year mark. So I just want to keep this ball rolling within the Northeast community.
And I'll steal Matt Allen's question for the last one. How can we support you?
So again, 1 Million Cup, you guys can help support me by providing helpful advice that will help the growth of Nets Mini Market. If you guys know of anyone that can help with funding or, any directions that I should look towards, I would be willing and accepting to any information that you guys are willing to provide.
Antoinette, thank you so much. It's been great this morning. If you're on this call, let's go ahead and do the Zoom thing and give a round of applause or a thumbs up in the corner. Thank you again. And then Kristen, I believe we have a few housekeeping items to take care of. All right, let's mark your calendars for our next meetup on February the 3rd at 9 a.m. As always, this is the first Wednesday of the month. And then if you're on the organizing team, let's stay on the call after this. So to all of our attendees, thank you so much. It's been great. Until next time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy 2021.
Good to see everybody. Thank you so much for being there today. Great job.